Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. How's it going? How was your week? For me, we did some work. We worked. I'm at it as always. I'm debating whether or not I should work this weekend. Today it is, what is it, April 23rd, 2022. And I'm still broke as shit. But yeah, so no food corner really. I'm trying to think if there's anything really spicy to report life wise. The answer is no. Sorry. No cool, cute podcast stories or anything like that. Um, but that being said, we can just get right into some news. Let's see, in Ukraine. I like to start the top of my weekend episodes with, Ukraine news. Little bit less, but, I still found some stuff. Starting in just a situation in Mariupol, there is an Azovstal steel plant that currently has, I believe, estimated 1,000 civilians, as well as I believe 2,000 troops as well, and that's kind of like it's become this like remaining stronghold. Initially, forces had pushed on there, surrounded people there, and Putin had said, okay, just lay off, it's fine. It's like they're flies and they can't do anything as long as we have them surrounded, it's cool. But I think as of today, it's been reported, and I got this from Yahoo News, that they've kind of increased. I mean, bombing hasn't stopped. That's still kind of been a thing. So it's not like people could leave or do anything. These people have been trapped in the steel plant. Some people as early as like the end of February. So some people haven't even seen like the light of day. It's like some Fallout style shit. So it's really a shitty situation for them, but they're still fighting, still doing the best they can. Let's see. In some other news that's still Mariupol related, it's also been reported that Russians have and this is like from like satellite drones and stuff, have been digging mass trenches, which most likely is like mass grave kind of situation. Also, when asked about it, the Kremlin more or less was like, "Nah, we're not going to comment." So they didn't really respond to that. So I don't know. I usually kind of take those as like, hey, like kind of what I was talking about in the other episode, where it's like, look, in these kind of war of propaganda, attrition, what have you, like you can't just lie. Sometimes it is just like, okay, just kind of silently accept the information that's being presented to you and don't say anything. So that's that bit. Moving to the next bump. I got this from Reuters. Russia tests nuclear-capable missile that Putin calls world's best. So this missile is kind of akin to a missile we talked about from China. This one is called the Sarmat. I think in the West we refer to it as the Satan II, which is a dope-ass name for a missile. Essentially, you can equip, I think, like up to 10 warheads on this thing. It moves very fast, so it's hard to it's more or less reported that you probably couldn't stop this with any kind of missile defense system if it was fired. It went as planned. This was just a missile test that they did from Moscow. Putin kind of, it looks like, did this as a flex. They have what's called a Victory Day coming up in May. Also, it's kind of linked with the previous thing I mentioned in the other article from Yahoo. It's like Putin really wants to win. We're getting really long in the tooth of this war. This Victory Day is supposed to be like a celebration, like a big rally, and you really want to have a milestone that you can say, hey, we did this, we liberated that, what have you. And getting Mariupol to fully submit would be ideal, because then you really are showing, hey, we have this whole land bridge, and then we're also trying to shore up the southern part as well, so we'll have more access from land to sea, and everything will just be cool and it'll be nice, and there's progress, there's a reason for this. So this Sarmat thing is also another flex on top of that to say, hey, look how big and bad we are. Also, you know, think about any kind of country who's going to try us right now, who's going to try to tell us what to do, not to do, what have you, try to interfere. Well, we'll have to deal with something like this. And then I believe also the Kremlin went on to do like a nuclear high alert. So, just really kind of sweating down, doing the thing. And kind of in summation for our little Ukraine section, Biden announces new Ukraine security assistance. There's a quote: "We will speak softly and carry a large javelin." So there's a little, I guess, pithy. I don't know the words I'm looking for here. Pithy, like political quote. I can't remember who said the walks. Was it Roosevelt? Walk softly, carry a big stick. I think it's like reference to that. CNN Politics, where I got this from. Let's see here. We can dig in a little bit. Biden has said Thursday he will send an additional $800 million in military assistance. So that's news. That's happening. Just a lot of military aid. Let's see. In the article, they mention heavy artillery and 144,000, I believe I'm saying that right, yeah, rounds of ammunition. I believe there's other things as mentioned, the javelin, just a lot of the weapons that they've been requesting because they're entering a phase of this war where that can be very useful, but at the same time, this is also kind of happening at Russia's border, so it's like, it's really going to be a hard situation to kind of make any inroads in. But I do believe that, they are getting assistance to them. Also, Biden in this article has mentioned more rollouts are coming. So that's another thing. Also, sanction-wise, he's like prohibited like more ships from coming in, so like they can't come in now or whatever, so they're banned, Russian ships to like US, stuff like that. Kind of like a reiteration in my opinion, but I guess you got to keep saying this stuff to kind of make it seem like you're doing more and more and more. But yeah, it's not looking great. And it is kind of funny too, because there's talk in this article, like, oh well, Putin expects us to lose interest, and we're not going to lose interest. That's not going to happen. But I do feel like over time, that especially if we look back with this, like around day 60 or so of this conflict, this war. I do think that it does kind of slowly but surely, just like the war in Iraq did for us, 20 years ago or whatever, over time, it just kind of stretches and dilutes, and you just don't think about it as much. You're just not as focused on it as much. And then you start to say, oh, wow, where's all this money going? Like, we have an inflation, yada, yada, yada. I think that is very much a human nature that comes across. Like, yes, in the beginning you see it, your heart goes out to people, you want to help, you're okay with what your government is doing and spending, but then you start to say, oh well, what about us? I think that happens a lot. So we'll see how things go as we move to, I guess, yeah, it's the spring now, so wow, shit's thawing, right? Actually I was actually out today. It was pretty nice out. On that note, before we get into I guess this is the highlight article in my opinion, but I'm gonna take a little break, yeah. Ooh, let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna take a drink. Whew. Okay. Next month, a couple of these articles I got, and I'm obviously in no way an expert, but I wanted to talk about the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. It's been on the lips of a lot of people. A lot of memes have been kind of coming out of it. The Me Poo movement is real. A But yeah, no, we'll get into some of it. One article I got from CNN Entertainment. Johnny Depp testifies about his finger getting severed in a defamation case against Amber Heard. Another one I got from CBS. 15 shocking moments from Johnny Depp's testimony and lawsuit against Amber Heard. So this has been going on throughout the week, as well as this has just been a big, what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess situation. But I mean, they met from the Rum Diaries in like 2009. I believe they got married in 2015 and then divorced in 2016. So just a real roller coaster of a ride for these two. Naturally, they're two big celebrities, actors. It was all in the public eye, more or less. So I know I started hearing some turbulence last year when I was listening to like BBC, and they were like talking about issues like their dog. Something happened in Australia. I believe they have a home in Australia where some of these incidents happened. But just a lot of kerfuffle there. A lot of lawsuits being thrown back and forth. But this one was a big one that happened. This is in Fairfax, Virginia. So this was one that happened here. There was a big lawsuit that Johnny Depp lost that was libel in the UK. But this one, he is suing for $50 million. And Amber Heard is suing a counter for $100 million. And she was kind of trying to fight to like just get the whole suit dismissed. Essentially, Amber Heard had put up an op-ed in the Washington Post. I believe it was in 2018. And it was just talking about how she was a survivor of abuse, of domestic abuse, and she didn't go to name Johnny Depp like in the article or anything like that, but it just like it feels suggested. And it's one of those situations where Johnny Depp comes out and he says that op-ed alone like completely ruined my career from where I was at. He was in the midst of potentially, I think he was already hired on, for the newest Pirates of the Caribbean movie that was supposed to come out, and they dropped him from the movie. And I guess there was like records of emails or something like that where it was just saying, hey, like, his personal life, his dramas, and like this stuff is just like it's too much. He's too hot of a product. Like we can't have him. And so he just said like it's cut me off from work. People are saying that I'm this wife beater, and more or less it's like this case is him trying to clear his name. At least that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I feel like that's kind of how it is presented. From what I've kind of heard, even though like I would say from what I saw from like some of the trial footage, I've only watched a little bit of clips. I haven't been like glued to this one because it really is like a page 6 thing. Like it's dramatic, it's intense, but to me these are just two celebrities once again just having a moment, and you get to see it because a camera is involved. That doesn't necessarily mean you should, but here we are. Here I am squawking about it. But essentially, I lost my train of thought. Damn. Oh no, the substances got me. Anyway, I will get to my next point, I guess. Let's glass forward. I will say from the CBS thing, the shocking moments were very like, whoa. Like, I will say, hearing Johnny's testimony, it definitely was like, okay, this is really like showing his side of it. I do think he was trying to get out and really say his piece. And even though I think what I was trying to say earlier was like, it is going to be hard for him to prove the libel that he's trying to prove. Like that might not work. He might not win this lawsuit per se, but maybe in the court of public opinion. And I definitely think in the court of public opinion, he's kind of coming out on top. He's really able to voice himself, say what happened, say his story, and kind of like show evidence. Like there's a lot of audio that gets presented, and you hear the back and forth between the two of them in some of these audios, and I think there's text messages as well. It definitely seems like in a lot of these, or some of these that I heard, like Amber Heard is the aggressor, and they're talking about the physicality of it, and she's like playing those parts down and talking, oh, okay, shifting to like what he was doing. So it is definitely a very interesting dynamic, because I do always believe you should believe women. I think that is a key thing. But just because you are believing women, that doesn't mean you don't go through both sides of the story and try to make sure that you elaborate and show what the truth is. I feel like that's what this case is. In that even being said, I do think there are, like I said, two sides to the story. Amber Heard has her, organization of the facts and how they were, to her, how things went. Definitely those are some interesting moments where it's like, he's saying like, hey, I went to, like, we had a moment. I went away to kind of escape, because apparently he had this thing where he's like, I'm hiding out in the bathroom a lot. Or sometimes when we book hotels, I would book a second hotel room so that I could just go somewhere, because this was like just getting too much and I had to just get away. But apparently he got away at one point, and then she comes back and she said like she was hurt in a scuffle that they had, and he went to go check her foot, and then she shoves the bathroom door in his head, like his face, and like hits him in the head. There just is a lot of these kind of back and forth moments where like apparently there was like a tussle, and then she says that he headbutted her, but then his response to it is that he was trying to like hold her, like I guess restrain her and like stop the fight because he was getting punched and these kind of things. They both have pictures of bruises. Though apparently there's tea that like, oh, the makeup that you're saying that you were using to cover these bruises didn't even come out. And that's another aspect that I didn't really get into here. The TikTok element, like the memeing, yes, but just also once again, kind of yet again, like it was in Ukraine, TikTok is shining. They're like live, like footage of the trial on TikTok, and I'm like, that is crazy to me. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm such a millennial boomer or something. It's just over my head, but that's wild. Like that's just wild to me. But definitely, there's footage that Heard has of like Johnny he's very clearly drunk, and he is very clearly like doing things that are violent. Like these are domestic things that you're seeing. Like he's either throwing a phone or I don't know, hitting cabinets or something, and he has like a huge glass of wine. I mean, there's just a lot of messy moments, I guess you can just say in summary. There was one moment where apparently Heard threw a bottle or a glass at him, and the glass cut his finger, and that was a thing. Just a lot of crazy moments. Then there's moments I saw from the CBS thing where like he would write crazy things on the walls, like "good luck at the top," she's like Billy Bob, and Billy Bob, like I was referring to Billy Bob Thornton and Easy Amber, and just like a bunch of just crazy stuff, just written in a bunch of muck. Like I don't know. Also, apparently there was allusion to an affair Amber Heard with James Franco, with Amber Heard and James Franco, and I think they had like a movie together, and like he was talking about that and going on tangents about that. And there's like receipts about that stuff. It's a whole to do. So yeah, I've injected it into the podcast, so we're definitely gonna keep talking about it when it comes up. Getting a little dose of page 6 here. I literally just kind of had a little blackout, and here we are. We're at the end of it. That's kind of as much as I want to get there. Like I said, that's a CBS article and a CNN article about it. There's plenty on the internet if you want to get your fill. I mean, hey, if this is your thing, by all means, take a slice. Get back to me. Report back to me. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. That's best place. You can give me some feedback. We can chop it up. But let's see. I wanted to kind of go out on a lighter note here. This is from NBC. Yes, NBC News. Man told employer not to celebrate his birthday. He was awarded $450,000 after unwanted party. Oh, there's a burp. Kevin Burling, who suffers from an anxiety disorder, told his employer a birthday celebration would trigger a panic attack, a lawsuit alleges. So this is a man from Kentucky. And, he told his boss, or he told, his people, I guess, like either HR, whatever. And he works at Gravity Diagnostics. He's like, hey, I have anxiety. Like, please, I do not want to have a party. It's like, just, I don't want it. No, thank you. They said, okay, cool. And then I guess they forgot, didn't check it, whatever. And they threw him a lunchtime party. And he just leaves. He just books it. And he eats his lunch outside in his car. And he, calls his employer, talks to them. He's like, hey, I told you guys I did not want a birthday party. Like, he was very insistent about it. And then he gets fired, which I think that's where it's like way too far. Like, I get, hey, things happen, mistakes happen, but I guess they felt like, oh man, maybe he'll escalate or something like that, or what have you, or maybe he sent maybe the messages that they had were just not, like, they didn't like him or whatever, or they didn't know how to handle it, so they just canned him. But either way, to get fired more or less for your birthday, and more or less for a birthday party that you didn't want thrown for you, like, that is fucked up. That's really fucking gnarly. So good for him. Good for Burling getting his bag. And yeah, good for him also, more importantly, for just having an open conversation with his employer. I think there are so many times that we're afraid to do that. I know me personally, I can be, where I have this like skittish shyness where it's like, I don't know if I can tell my employer that I need this time or that time, or I don't want this, or I do want that, or what have you. Yeah, there's this fear. But meanwhile, like, they'll tell you, oh, we're family, or we value you as an employee, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Well, good for him for, one, saying, hey, this is my human right. I have a disorder. This was going to freak me out. Please don't do this. And shame on them for fucking that up. And I get it. Things happen. You can say, sorry, we're sorry, and it won't happen again, and move on from that. But you can't do that and then fire him for that, because that's your bad, Like, that's company. So, yeah, that's the end. That's all we got. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see, patreon.com/Isaiah News. That's the way to get involved with the project that is Isaiah's Newsstand. That money helps me out, helps me build the brand, if you will. I can link and build. Also gets you Discord access, also gets you a shout out. Cool stuff, other than that, I'll hopefully see you for the next episode for the weekend. If I don't, then, hopefully, I see you soon for some more good news, and you have a good one. But yeah, I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.